Hey, good morning. Let's go over today's trade plan. So in the overnight session, we saw that buyers held ES above the overnight support, which was 0375 to 0575. And at this point, heading into the open, we will be using the 0475 to 0675 as the micro bull bear zone. As long as ES is holding above that area, we know that in the short term, buyers can maintain control. And on the upside, a break above 2110 to 2112 would confirm buyers in control, and that could actually lead to a upside breakout or a retest of the all-time high at 1675 to 1775. On the downside, if we break below 0475, that would be an early warning sign that control is shifting again from buyers to sellers, and from there we can go back down and test yesterday's low and the 98.5 to 2100.5 initial support zone. Now the initial support is essentially the bottom of the recent balance, which has been developing over the last 4 to 5 days, and buyers can still defend that area. The other markets are relatively strong. ES and TF are holding up quite well. So if that relative strength continues in Nasdaq and Russell, then ES may just hold above the micro bull bear and start making its way back up towards the 10 to 12 pre-market resistance, and potentially from there it can go up to the all-time high and even make a new all-time high. But if we do start seeing some selling in these other markets and ES is breaking below the micro bull bear zone, then it certainly opens the door for a test of 98.5 to 2100.5. That's an area where buyers can still technically defend, but on the downside, if we're going down to initial support on heavy momentum, heavy volume, and extremely weak internals, then that zone does become prone to failing, and from there ES can actually go down to 91 to 93, and a break of initial support would be a break below the recent 4 to 5 day balance. So there can certainly be some follow through if we liquidate below initial support. But that's something we'll have to gauge as the market approaches that zone. So if the internals are not that weak, like we've seen over the last few days, or the other markets are holding up quite well, then the market may just remain within the recent short-term balance and hold at initial support. So we'll have to judge based on how the market actually heads down to initial support, if it even goes down there, and just how weak the real-time situation really is. So we'll look at the advanced decline, see if it's printing values below minus 1500. If that's the case, then that would indicate broad market selling, and it could lead to downside continuation. On the other hand, if the AD is not that weak, like we've seen over the last few days, around minus 900, then we could remain stuck in balance because the bigger picture is still bullish, and the buyers can still step in at initial support at 2091. Any of these support areas, because the larger time frame is in a clear uptrend. Those larger time frame buyers can step in at pretty much any support zone, and the pattern that we've seen over the last few days is a continuous failure to break below the recent balance, and every breakdown, even on the day time frame, is reversing and not really having a whole lot of follow through. Of course, that pattern can change, and that's why we do have to be pretty vigilant and pay attention to how the market is setting up in real time, on top of being prepared and being aware of where the market's balancing and what the key zones are. But overall, we know that the larger time frame bias is clearly bullish here. So on the econ calendar at this point, we have Chicago PMI 8:45 a.m. Central Time, and consumer sentiment and pending home sales index at 9 a.m. Central. So we do have some econ releases this morning that can serve as a catalyst for a short-term directional move. So that is really the overall context heading into the morning. Keep an eye on 0475 to 0675 as long as ES is holding above it and the other markets are holding up as well. Then buyers have a shot at maintaining control. A break below the micro bull bear zone would indicate weakness in the market, And if it's happening on weak internals, which are actually getting weaker, then that can result in some directional movement on the downside. If we hold at the micro bull bear zone, on the upside, 10 to 12 is the primary hurdle with the key high volume node at 2111. If we can clear that to the upside, then that would confirm buyers in control. Essentially right now we're just stuck in a range, we're stuck in balance. But on the upside, if we can break through 10 to 12, that would confirm buyers back in firm control, which can lead to a test and possibly even a break of the all-time high. So those are the main ideas heading into the open. Let's see if the buy side can maintain control by holding at the micro bull bear zone. That will help us establish our short-term directional bias, and we'll take it from there.